Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the July 9th meeting of the Pullman City Council. Dee, if you could please call roll.
Mayor Benjamin. Councilmember DeLira.
Here.
Councilmember Fajarin.
Here.
Councilmember Gaither. Councilmember Guido. Councilmember Parks.
Here.
Councilmember Weller.
Present.
Councilmember Wright.
Here. So Councilmembers Gaither and Guido are unable to be with us tonight, as is Mayor Benjamin. So if I could please have a motion to excuse them.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Stand excused. Thank you. So the first order of business tonight is community announcements. And so I do have a proclamation to read tonight with designation of July as Parks and Recreation Month. Whereas parks and recreation are an integral part of communities throughout this country, including the city of Pullman, and whereas parks and recreation promote health and wellness, improving the physical and mental health of people who live near parks, and whereas parks and recreation promote time spent in nature, which positively impacts mental health by increasing cognitive performance and well-being and alleviating illnesses such as depression, attention deficit disorders, and Alzheimer's. And whereas parks and recreation encourage physical activities by providing space for popular sports, hiking trails, swimming pools, and many other activities designed to promote active lifestyles. And whereas parks and recreation are a leading provider of healthy meals, nutrition services, and education. And whereas parks and recreation programming and education activities such as out-of-school time, programming, youth sports, and environmental education are critical to childhood development. And whereas parks and recreation increase a community's economic prosperity through increased property values, expansion of the local tax base, increased tourism, the attraction and retention of businesses, and crime reduction. And whereas parks and recreation are fundamental to the environmental well-being of our community, and whereas parks and recreation are essential and adaptable infrastructure that makes our communities resilient in the face of natural disasters and climate change, and whereas our parks and natural recreation areas ensure the ecological beauty of our community and provide a place for children and adults to connect with nature and recreate outdoors. And whereas the U.S. House of Representatives has designated July as Parks and Recreation Month, and whereas City of Pullman recognizes the benefits derived from parks and recreation resources. Now therefore be it resolved by the City of Pullman that July is recognized as Parks and Recreation Month in Pullman, Washington. Signed, Francis A. Benjamin, Mayor. And so next, under announcements, we do have a report on fireworks. So Inspector, I know, Darren Jones, please take the podium.
Thank you, Council. So I'm here tonight to give you a brief overview of our Independence Day celebration and incidents that police and fire responded to. We had, on 4th of July, Pullman Fire responded to approximately 17 different calls. Out of those calls, we had 3 fires, and those three fires were related to fireworks, burning junipers, arborvitaes, and other vegetation. One of the fires was bad enough that it did significant damage to a parked car that was nearby. All accidental fires from fireworks. Our partners with the police department, they ran 20 different calls from July 1st through July 9th, all fireworks related. And out of those, there were 11 of the calls where they didn't observe any type of violation. One person was educated on the safe use of fireworks. 5 were warned for shooting off fireworks outside the allowed time per city code. And there were 3 calls where they just couldn't locate anyone. So we were very lucky this year. We had no major incidents of any injuries, no fatalities, no structures or major property losses. We only had 1 fireworks stand, as we've had in the past few years, selling the legal fireworks. We had a wonderful event up at Sunnyside Park. And I want to thank our partners with Whitman County Fire District 12 for their support with the fires, or with the fireworks. So that is my report. Any questions?
Nathan.
Thank you. Great, I appreciate it, glad no one was hurt. My question is related to fires, but not necessarily fireworks. I have a question about when fires occur, whether that's structure fires, backyard fires, how do we, as a city, clean up? For example, and I had sent an email and hadn't heard back yet regarding this, but there was a car fire over by McGee Park on the corner there by Stadium Way. This happened a couple weeks ago. As I understand, the gas blew up. It was a pretty big deal. Nobody hurt, and thankfully you responded quickly and were able to put it out. However, I know as of last week, there was still debris left on the street, including glass, screws, metal, this sort of stuff. One of the few remaining neighbors that is in that area, one of the few remaining people who live in the home that was right by there, actually was out there shoveling it herself. Because she was afraid of it cutting up a dog's paw, getting in somebody's tire. So if you could enlighten me and the public about how we respond afterwards, because I know that had been sitting there for at least about 2.5 weeks.
Absolutely. That's a great question. So that was a car fire, and the car was parked out on the street. So typically with any vehicle fires or vehicles that are inoperable from, say, even a motor vehicle accident, we call tow trucks, and the tow trucks come and will remove that. The tow trucks are the ones that are responsible, the tow truck operators, for cleaning up the glass and the other debris. So that's typically what happens. Why that didn't get done, I can't say why, but that's how it should work. And if it's not done when the tow truck shows up, the fire department, we're there as well. We have brooms and shovels, and we want to make sure that road is clear. If we can't get it clean enough, we'll call out maintenance and operations, and they'll bring out a sweeper and sweep the road to ensure that it's cleaned up. So if there is a situation like that, please let us know, and we'll get out there, one of our groups, and we'll get that cleaned up. Because just like you said, it is a safety hazard, and we want to make sure that's clear. As for like a structure fire, what we're going to do with the structure fires, we're going to make sure that the public way is clear, and if it can't be, we're going to fence it off and contain it so that way the public can't go in there and injure themselves. Yeah. All right. Thank you.
Since we were just talking about fireworks and July 4th, I would personally just like to acknowledge both the police department and the fire department for the awesome job that they do at Sunnyside Park, offering any number of variety of activities for the kids who are there at Sunnyside Park. I know my grandkids had an awesome time with both fire and police, and what a great way to introduce them to the benefits and the services that our public safety officers provide. So thank you, both agencies, for doing that. It was fabulous. So announcements that we have tonight include one for excessive heat, obviously expected in Pullman, with multiple days of temperatures in the upper 90s and low 100s expected in the region. The City of Pullman reminds the community that Neal Public Library is accessible for heat relief during normal business hours, with the hope that as it gets later in the day, it does tend to cool down a little bit. Applications are being considered for the following groups. Please apply on the city's website: Arts Commission, Cemetery Committee, Civil Service Commission, Environmental Resilience Commission, Diversity, Equity, Inclusion, and Belonging Committee, Parks and Recreation Commission. Pullman Parks and Rec, free concerts in the park. Rainey Park is scheduled to have a concert tomorrow, and that would be at 6 o'clock. That one may be in question just depending upon the temperature tomorrow. So we'll make an announcement during the, probably middle of the afternoon as to whether or not that will go forward tomorrow. And July 10th, should it happen tomorrow, it will be the community band of the Palouse. Parks and Rec, again, free movies in the park, Fridays at dusk, and July 12th, the movie is Migration. And as you know, I are kind of out of order, but I did read the July Parks and Rec proclamation for the month of July. And again, we talked about the 4th of July and thanking everyone who participated in the July 4th festivities, and to the chamber and all the city staff and volunteers who made it a success. Special thanks to Glenn Johnson, who chaired the 4th of July committee for probably at least his, 25th, 30th year. So kudos to Glenn for continuing to do that. So with that, we'll move on to the preliminary part of the agenda, and that would be for community comments. And as we have come to know, this agenda item is an opportunity for the public to bring comments, concerns, or other non-agenda related items to the attention of elected officials. And so we'll have 2 minutes for each comment tonight.
Hi, my name is Matthew Strupp. I'm a Pullman resident, a member of the Palouse Democratic Socialists of America, and an activist with Pullman for Palestine. I'm speaking to remind the Council that the Pullman community still expects action from them on a resolution calling for a ceasefire and an end to occupation and apartheid in Palestine. At the last City Council meeting, a number of Council members expressed their interest in writing a resolution separate from the one submitted to the Council by Palouse DSA. Those of us in the community who support a ceasefire resolution are happy to engage in a drafting and community feedback process, that we strongly support the demands in the original resolution for an immediate permanent ceasefire, an end to U.S. military aid, the freeing of Palestinian prisoners in Israeli military prisons, the provision of humanitarian aid, the end of all discriminatory laws against Palestinians, an end to the siege on Gaza and the occupation of the West Bank and East Jerusalem, and a right of Palestinian refugees to return to their homeland. Just this past week, Israeli forces conducted a new offensive on the Gazan city of Khan Yunis, forcing a mass evacuation from the city and shutting down the European hospital, one of the largest remaining in Gaza. Israel has also made clear that it categorically rejects a permanent ceasefire and has stipulated new conditions for any temporary end to its genocidal bombing campaign. In addition, the prestigious British medical journal, The Lancet, just published what it calls a conservative estimate that the bombing has resulted in the direct and indirect deaths of 186,000 people in Gaza, or 8% of the population, showing us the immense magnitude of this genocide, which will only get worse as famine and disease take their toll. The community wants action from the Council in the form of joining the over 100 cities nationwide that have called for an end to our government's massive financial and military support for genocide, apartheid, and settler colonialism, without which the State of Israel would be unable to carry out these crimes. Thank you.
Thank you, Matthew. Anyone else?
Hello, my name is Megan Henry. I am also a Pullman resident and a member of the former stated group. I spoke last time, and I don't know how you expect us to feel heard in this forum when city council members like Pat Wright tone police the way we call for action, but I will try again and again for the Palestinian people. I don't know how you expect us to feel safe in our town if our city council refuses to validate the need for this resolution. Refusing to call for a ceasefire is racist, just like this genocide. Refusing to call for a ceasefire is defeatist, just like everyone in power seems to want us, the people, to feel. Refusing to call for a ceasefire is you, City Council, turning your eyes and ears and heart away from the needs of humanity. Does humanity not reach as far as Pullman, or are we only concerned about the people who look like us, run into us at the grocery store or at church, who run a business downtown? I say again, the illusion that we have to choose between supporting our local businesses and supporting humanity by calling for a ceasefire is an illusion. And I despise that citizens of this town would try to draw such a stark line in our very fertile land while Palestine's fertile hills are being bombed relentlessly, just so that Palestinians can never farm them again. I beg you to see how alike we are. This could be us. The continued genocidal actions of Israel against all international law proves that we need something or someone bigger than the president to make a stand. Perhaps I'm still of the crazy belief that another speaker mentioned last time, that we, the people, can change the world. We are the ones who have to make a stand. We are the ones who have to make sure Israel knows that the American people care to stop genocide, care to stop racism, care to hold others accountable to the law, care to pull our attention from the problems of our own towns for a moment to recognize a worldwide need for solidarity. This is that moment. For the approximately 186,000 Palestinians murdered in the past 277 days of genocide, we must stand up and we must make it stop. Pat, you don't like it when we demand. Do you care when we beg?
Thank you.
Good evening, City Council. My name is Shay, and I'm a citizen of Pullman. I'm here to urge the Council to take the opportunity to draft or continue working towards a ceasefire resolution for Gaza. I've been here the past few meetings, and I will continue to advocate for Pullman to make and pass a ceasefire resolution. I'm asking my City Council because every other representative in a higher position has done nothing. I've called, I've emailed, I've faxed my representatives, and all I've ever heard is I've talked to one singular person, and I've received one auto-generated email, and that is it. So I'm here asking the same of my local representatives that I've been asking of my higher representatives in hopes that I may reach people who have not been bought out by Israel. Patty Murray has received $123,650 from the American Israel Public Affairs Committee, or AIPAC. This is her third biggest donor. Kathy McMorris Rogers has received at least $16,000 from Israeli gas companies, and all of our representatives have received money from companies that are profiting from the war. So I'm here hoping that my voice can be heard over the hundreds of thousands of dollars of Israeli lobbying money, and our city can join the many other cities in the fight against American-funded and supplied genocide. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name's Aiden. I'm a grad student at WSU. And yeah, I wanted to bring up a few points. I'm also in support of the ceasefire resolution. And a lot of the concerns that you've raised are concerns for the safety of the community. And there seems to be some assumption that we, as people in support of this resolution, are inherently safe in our position. And the reality is that it's historically unsafe to make these sort of statements knowing the history of retaliation from right-wing individuals, and that generally the same people making those sort of retaliatory actions are also guilty of the anti-Semitism that this resolution is somehow being accused of spreading. Again, the act of me demanding a resolution for a ceasefire makes me feel like I have to worry about being a victim of violence or a target of violence. And I don't really like to bring up identity and identity politics very much because I think its use has been used way too much for justifying what's happening right now. But really, does it matter that I or any of the other people that are demanding this resolution are Jewish? Or does it only matter if I'm a Jew that disagrees with this resolution? I'm Jewish and Irish, and both sides of my family are descendants of genocide. And ongoing prejudice in both communities. I know my history, and I know the trauma that exists within my community, and I will never accept the weaponization of that trauma for other violence. And the inability to critically think and apply any sort of nuance to this situation is frankly ridiculous. And lastly, Councilmember Wright, you said that City Council is for people who have lived here for a long time. I looked it up, it's not true, and it's really a shameful message for the city whose population is largely students. The students are trafficked here by WSU, providing fodder for landlords and property management companies, pay a lot of money, basically run the economy,
Thank you,
and they're
Aiden.
told that they have no place
Thank
here.
you, Aiden. Anyone else? Thank you. So Eric, I'll start with you on city council member comments if you have any.
Sure. I just have one event to share. I recently lost a family pet of 13 years, and I was made aware of this event that the WSU Vet School puts on And so I'll just read this event announcement from Scott Campbell, the veterinary chaplain at WSU. I'd like to extend an invitation to the entire community for the celebration of life and remembrance of our animal companions on Saturday, July 27th, 2024 at the Elson Floyd Cultural Center on the WSU campus. The service will begin at 10:30 a.m. with doors opening at 10 a.m. to allow time for those who wish to decorate a streamer for remembrance garland. Hosted by the College of Veterinary Medicine, this event provides a supportive and nurturing environment to honor and remember our beloved animal companions. Following the ceremony, there will be a social gathering sponsored by the American Association of Veterinary Chaplains. All who have experienced love and loss of animal companions are welcome to attend this meaningful community event. And again, that event is on July 27th, 2024 at the Elson Floyd Cultural Center. Start times 10:30 a.m.
Councilmember Parks?
I have nothing, thank you.
Councilmember Weller?
No, I don't have anything. Thank you.
Councilmember DeLeon?
I just want to provide a quick update around further movement towards the ceasefire resolution. A public forum to continue conversations that were started during the previous council meetings and today around the ceasefire resolution is in the process of being organized. In terms of time, date, and location, that will be announced later. Thank you.
Thank you. And I have no comments tonight, other than to wish the mayor well and hope that the family issues that he's experiencing tonight are resolved quickly. And thank you all for your patience with me as Mayor Pro Tem this evening. So our next agenda item is typically would be for elected officials that represent the city on other committees, commissions, or boards to report on activities. And we have no reports as such this evening. The next item is future regular agenda requests that could be taken from members of the council. Do we have any such requests tonight? Okay, hearing none, thank you. And then lastly, community comments on final action. Persons may comment on any agenda item that the city council will take final action, including the consent agenda, but excluding items where public comment was previously accepted. This includes prior public hearings. And seeing no one interested in making comments about action items tonight. So we have one confirmation of appointment tonight, and that would be to confirm the appointments of Daryl Singleton, Kyra McPherson, John Rich, and Desiree Greystone to the Arts Commission. So thank you to all of you who are willing to serve on that very valuable commission.
I'll move to confirm the appointments of those individuals to the Arts Commission.
Second.
So we have a motion and a second to confirm the appointments to the Arts Commission. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Next, we have the consent agenda, and it is that these items listed under the consent agenda are considered to be routine in nature and will be enacted by a single motion of the City Council without separate discussion. So Thad, if you could read the consent. Oh, sorry. Could I have a motion to read the consent agenda by title only?
Second.
Motion and a second to read by title only. Thad, if you could take that on, please.
Do you have
Did I?
you got to do a vote too.
Oh.
Fine, so I failed.
I move
You're
to
doing
read
great.
the consent agenda by title only.
We have a move in a second.
Okay, motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Now, Thad, you're on.
Thank you. First item is a motion to dispense with the reading of the June 25, 2024 regular meeting minutes and approve them as submitted. Second is a motion to approve disbursements for accounts payable checks numbered 20111-706 through 20111-765, totaling $1,092,400 $403.35. Item 3 is a motion to approve disbursements for accounts payable checks numbered 2011-1766 through 2011-1872, totaling $1,576,948.01. Item 4 is a motion to approve disbursements for accounts payable checks, electronic transfers, and ADP payroll transfers totaling $1,094,626.50. Item 5 is a motion to ratify change order number 1 to the TerraView and Crestview Pass contract. Item 6, resolution number R-42-24, a resolution authorizing the acceptance and execution of a Universal Transit Access Pass Program agreement between the City of Pullman and Washington State University for the 2024-2025 school year. Item 7, resolution number R-43-24, a resolution adopting proposed route changes to the public transportation system effective August 18, 2024 for the 2024-2025 service year. Item 8, resolution R-44-24, a resolution approving a 6-year transit development plan for calendar years 2024 through 2029 and 2023 annual report for Pullman Transit. Item 9 is resolution number 45-24, a resolution prohibiting parking on both sides of Southeast Crestview Street between South Grand Avenue and Southeast Thompson Street. That's all of them.
Thank you, Thad. Do any council members desire to have any items removed from the consent agenda to be discussed separately? I recognize Councilmember DeLira.
Yeah, could I pull out consent agenda item 7?
Yes, of course.
Yeah, sorry.
So we have items 1 through 6 and 8 through 9. Do I have a motion to approve those as submitted?
Move to approve.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve those items. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Motion passes. Thank you. Councilmember DeLira.
Yeah, thank you so much, Pat. I just wanted to give a quick comment around the proposed route changes, and I just want to say that I, GPSA, and ASWC appreciate the proposed transfer point on Flag Lane, as it provides a safer transfer point between apartment land and campus loop, and for this reason, I'm supporting the proposed route changes today, and I'm looking forward to seeing how this works out in the initial in the initial months of the WSU academic school months. I do still want to elevate the desire among students to have a merged route, which includes the route coverage in both the Apartment Land Express and Campus Loop. It provides a more direct access to stops from Apartment Land to main points on campus without increasing commuting time as a result of the transferring points between bus routes. So I'm still hoping that we can continue to explore and have conversations on implementing a merged route in the near future. But for today, I think this is a great step forward.
Would you like to make a motion to approve that?
Motion to approve resolution number R-4324.
Second.
Second.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second to approve resolution number R-43-24. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. So we are now moving on to the regular agenda, and I would invite Sean Wells to the podium to talk to us about a sole source contract with Gooch Thermal Systems, Inc. Thank you, Sean.
Good evening, everyone. Today, our wastewater treatment plant supervisor couldn't be present, so I'm presenting this. I may be a little less versed than he is because he knows his business a lot better than I do. But basically, the agenda memo that's written there talks about the heat exchangers. It's essentially part of the machinery that's used to treat biosolids for volatile solids and pathogen reduction, and it maintains a consistent temperature so that the biosolids meet Department of Ecology requirements. We purchased, this is part of a purchasing series in the capital improvement program. We purchased one of these digesters, heat exchangers, I'm sorry, in 2020 and then had that installed. We purchased another one, 2022, I'm sorry, and had that installed. We purchased another one in 2023, and we've held that back, waiting to install in case one of the other two failed. What's before you tonight is to purchase that third one so that we can install both of them in the primary heat exchangers number 2 and 3. The only direct replacement option for the heat exchanger is the Gooch Model 1000K by Gooch Thermal Systems, which is the current model that we have for the one that is installed today. If we were to use a different model, it would require a bunch of different additional plumbing and reconfigurations of the systems to make it work. So we're asking to move forward tonight with a sole source contract with Gooch Thermal for the replacement of the heat exchanger at the plant. I can answer any questions.
Questions of Sean? Nope. Hearing none, do we have a motion for authorization?
Move to authorize the execution of a sole source contract with Gooch Thermal Systems Incorporated for a replacement heat exchanger for wastewater treatment plant.
A second?
Second.
So we have a motion and a second to authorize the execution of this contract. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you, Sean. Next on the agenda is a motion to authorize transit staff to apply for funding assistance for 2 new electric buses and planning and design work associated with the new transit facility. Thank you, Wayne.
Thank you. Members of council, every 2 years we have the opportunity to apply for grant assistance through the State Department of Transportation's Consolidated Grant Program. And the Consolidated Program is a single application per project, and the state reviews that application, and we have the opportunity for multiple funding sources, often state and federal funds on the same project. So rather than do multiple applications, it's one application per project. Normally, I would be here with a request for a large operations grant for fixed route and dollar ride. We're now on a 4-year cycle for that, so I'll be back in 2 years. So we're not missing the boat here. This is an opportunity for some capital and planning funds. The 2 projects that I'm bringing before you, requesting to apply for grant assistance, I'd like to maintain the momentum that we had in the fall when I brought to you the transit facility master plan, and that was approved, and that's been several months. Now this is the opportunity to get funding for the next phase, and that phase is 30% design, the early design phase of a construction project, and an environmental review, the National Environmental Protection Act. So helps us confirm our actual facility location and any impacts in that selection. And this program, the consolidated program, is the source recommended by the state for this type of project. We've looked at several others, and that's the reason for the delay, and waited for the consolidated opportunity for this funding opportunity. The second project is to apply for funding assistance for 2 electric buses, and these would again be the 30-foot shorter buses that we're currently waiting on. There is a significant cost increase over the buses we purchased previously. We haven't seen that full increase materialize, but I fully anticipate that it will. The cost of electric buses is increasing. This also keeps with our CIP schedule of replacing 2 buses every 2 years on grant cycles. So the request that I have tonight is a motion to authorize me to apply through the Consolidated Grant Program for these 2 projects, and I would bring back a application for review in August before the September deadline. Happy to answer any questions.
Questions for Wayne? Thank you for bringing this to our attention early enough so that we have time to think about it as well as to take action before the actual due date. So that's great. Thank you. Oh, I'm sorry. Councilmember Delira,
Could I
please.
just make comments? Yeah, I think we should move forward to support the transit facility and the electric bus grant writing process. And it's a commitment towards our public transportation system and explicit way we can reduce our carbon footprint. So I'm in full support.
Would you like to, yeah.
Sure. A motion to authorize transit staff to apply for funding assistance for 2 new electric buses and planning and design work associated with a new transit facility.
Second.
So we have a motion and a second to authorize transit staff to apply for funding assistance on both of these items. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you, Wayne. Okay, so we had one discussion item that I am going to ask for it to be deferred. This is a discussion on work group selection, which is one of the primary initiatives that Mayor Benjamin would like to bring forward. And since this is his actual project, I would defer that action on any of this or discussion take place when the mayor is present. So do I need to have approval to table this item?
Yes, I would just ask for a motion to table it to the next
Okay,
meeting,
okay, thank you.
or actually to a future meeting.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if I could have a motion to do that.
Move to defer the work group selection discussion item to a future meeting.
Second.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second to defer this item to a future meeting. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion passes to defer. Do we have any items that would like to be brought up in new business? Nope. Okay. Hearing none, then if I could entertain a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
So we have a motion and a second to adjourn tonight's meeting. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Said no one ever. Thank you very much, and thank you all for joining us tonight. Meeting adjourned.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem.
Well, just-